Again, let me continue. Judge Advocate Dominguez presented Rizal's criminal case, followed by the lengthy speech of prosecuting attorney Enriquez de Alcocer. To appeal to the emotions of the Spanish judges, Alcocer went as far as dramatically mentioning the Spanish soldiers who had died in the Filipino traitorous revolt, and discriminately describing Rizal as a typical Oriental who had presumed to rise from a lower social scale in order to attain powers and possessions that could never be his. Grabe kung paano nila husgahan si Dr. Jose Rizal na isang, at makikita ninyo rin dyan sa pamamagitan ng kung paano sabihin na typical Oriental. So, ano ba ang isang typical Oriental? Ibig sabihin, tinitignan nila tayo as somebody subordinate at sila yung superior, tayo yung mas mababang klase. Ganun yung tingin nila sa atin. Okay, at the end, Alcocer petitioned for a death sentence for Rizal and an indemnity of 20,000 pesos. O, itong halaga na ito ay naking halaga na, pero hindi naman actually yan yung nagka-count dyan or importante dyan. Ang masakit dyan ay yung pagpataw sa kanya ng kamatayan. Rizal's defense counsel, Lieutenant Andrade, then took the floor and tried his very best to save his client by reading his responsive defense, stressing too that it was but natural for anyone to yearn for liberty and independence. Afterward, Rizal was allowed to read his complimentary defense consisting of logical proofs that he could have not taken part in the revolution and that La Liga was distinct from Katipunan. He argued, among others, that he even advised the Katipunan emissary Valenzuela and Dapetan not to pursue the plan to revolt. Tama yan. Tinanggihan niya at sinabihan sila na wag na itong ituloy. And another, balikan lang natin yung La Liga. Ano ba ito? Isa itong publication na kung saan si Rizal ay isa sa mga contributory writers. At ano yung dalawang pen name na ginamit niya? Laong Laan and Demasalang. So, sinabi niya na magkaiba naman yung La Liga na kinabibilangan niya mula sa Katipunan. Okay. The revolutionists had used his name without his knowledge. He could have escaped either in Dapitan or Singapore if he were guilty. Natotoo kasi nga sinubukan pa nga siyang itakas ng mga Katipunero pero tinanggihan niya, 'di ba? O de sana tumakas na lang sana siya nung siya ay isang exile sa Dapitan kung totoo na guilty siya. And the civic group La Liga, which died out upon his exile, did not serve the purpose of the uprising and that he had no knowledge about its reformation. Okay, Lieutenant Colonel Arjona then declared the trial over. Expectedly, the entire defense was indifferently disregarded in Rizal's mock trial as it instantaneously considered him guilty. Actually, itong trial naman niya ay walang katuturan kasi kahit gaano ka-logical yung i-present niya na kanyang pagkatanggol sa kanyang sarili at kung paano din siya sinubukang ipagtanggol ni Lieutenant Andrade. Wala ito class kasi determinado ang Spanish government na patawan siya ng kamatayan dahil nga para sa kanila siya ang dahilan kung bakit ang mga Pilipino ay namulat at nagre-revolusyon. Kung matatandaan din ninyo kung paano naging traidor yung mga nagsumbong or nagbalita na siya ay pabalik na ng Pilipinas kaya siya inaresto, and then another ay yung pagkatapos ng exile niya sa Dapitan ay muli ulit siyang aresto. So the jury unanimously voted for the death sentence. The trial ended with the reading of the sentence. So Rizal was found guilty and the sentence was death by firing squad. On December 28, Governor General Polavieja signed the court decision and decreed that the guilty be executed by firing squad at 7 a.m. of December 30, 1896 at Bagumbayan, Doneta. Because Rizal was also required to sign the verdict, he stoically signed his own death sentence. Okay, last 25 hours of Rizal bago siya patayin. Accounts on Jose Rizal's last hours vary and largely depend on the historian one is reading. Kasi may iba't ibang versions. May mga historians na magkakaibang sinasabi, pero nagkaisa naman yung mga iba sa pagsabi ng mga ganitong detalye na sila ay magkakapareho ng alam at pinapaniwalaan. So what happened in Rizal's life from 6 a.m. of December 29, 1896 until his execution was perhaps the most controversial in his biography. Kasi ito yung bago siya mapatay, class, ay nilapitan siya ng maraming mga sumubok na kumbinsihin siya na i-retract yung kanyang mga sinabi doon sa kanyang dalawang nobela patungkol sa Catholic Church. Ano pa yung mga kaganapan dito? Ikinasal daw siya kay Josephine Bracken, pero na-discuss na natin na hindi. Ipagpatuloy na lang muna natin. Ayan, like his supposed retraction and Catholic marriage with Bracken allegedly occurred within this time frame, from 6 a.m. to 12 noon. Standard biography states that 6 a.m. of December 29, Judge Advocate Dominguez formally read the death sentence to Rizal. At about 7 a.m., he was transferred to either his death cell or prison chapel. He was visited by Jesuit priests Miguel Cedera Mata and Luis Viza. They brought the medal of the Ateneos Marian congregation, of which Rizal was a member, and the wooden statue of the Sacred Heart of Jesus he had carved in the school. Rizal put the wooden image on his table while he rejected the medal, saying, "I'm little of a Marian father." Rizal's last hours. At 8 a.m., the priest Antonio Rosell arrived after his co-priest Viza left. Rizal shared his breakfast with Rosell. Later, Lieutenant Andrade came and Rizal thanked his defense lawyer. Diba? Nagawa niya pang pasalamatan na itong sumubok na ipagtanggol siya doon sa korte, pero pareho silang nabigo kasi napatawan pa rin ng kamatayan si Dr. Jose Rizal. Hanggang sa kahuli-huli ang mga oras niya, nakikita nyo kung anong klaseng tao si Rizal. Sana na ipo-portray ng maayos yung personality niya, kung paano ko basahin itong narrative na ito. Yung mga responses niya sa pare nung binigyan siya ng medal, hindi niya tinanggap kasi sabi niya hindi niya ito deserve. Okay. Next, Santiago Machas of the Spanish newspaper El Heraldo de Madrid interviewed Rizal at about 9 a.m. Then came the priest Federico Faur at about 10 a.m. He advised Rizal to forget about his resentment and marry Josephine canonically. The two had a heated discussion about religion as witnessed by Rosell. Okay, two other priests, Jose Villaclara and Vicente Balaguer, missionary in Dapitan, also visited Rizal at about 11 a.m. The Jesuits tried to convince Rizal to write a retraction. Though still believing in the Holy Scriptures, Rizal supposedly refused to retract his anti-Catholic views, exclaiming, "Look, fathers, if I should assent to you and sign all you want me to, just to please you, neither believing nor feeling, I would be hypocrite and would then be offending God." Kasi nga, pawang katotohanan lamang naman yung kanyang mga isinuwalat patungkol sa Catholic Church. Kaya para sa kanya, kung babawiin niya yun, ikakagalit ng Panginoon, kasi ang gusto lang naman ng Panginoon ay ang katotohanan at hindi kasinungalingan. At sabi niya, siya ay isang tunay na Katoliko at ang isang tunay na Katoliko ay tumatalima sa turo ng Biblia. Pero it's very ironic with the members of the church noong unang panahon na nagdala dito sa atin ng Christianity at nagturo ng mga salita ng Diyos, pero sila mismo ang mga pangunahing tao na lumabag dito. Okay, at noon, Rizal was left alone in his cell. He had his lunch, read the Bible, and meditated. About this time, Balaguer reported to the Archbishop that only a little hope remained that Rizal would retract. Refusing to receive visitors for the meantime, Rizal probably finished his last poem at this moment. So bago siya mamatay, may isinulat pa siyang tula. Rizal also wrote to Blumentritt his last letter, in which he called the Austrian scholar "my best, my dearest cited in Cueto 2012, paragraph 7. O kasi best friend niya na itinuring itong si Blumentritt. He then had a talk with priests Stanislaw March and Villa Clara at about 2 p.m. Balaguer then returned to Rizal's cell at 3:30 p.m. and allegedly discussed again about Rizal's retraction. Pero hindi nga nila makumbinse kahit na paulit-ulit siyang binibisita doon sa kanyang selda. Rizal then wrote letters and dedications and rested shortly. At 4 p.m., the sorrowful Doña Teodora and Jose's sisters went to see the sentenced Rizal. Siyempre, hindi nyo siguro gaanong mahinuha or ma-imagine kung paano yung pagdurusa ng kanyang pamilya. Family member na papatayin. Siguro we can relate this to the sorrow na nararamdaman ng pamilya ng kababayan natin na nakadetain ngayon sa ibang bansa dahil sa illegal na droga na itinanim lang sa kanyang kagamitan, pero ang may kagagawan din kasi nun ay kapwa Pilipino lang din natin. Okay, anyway, I am just trying to make connections or make you understand the sorrow. So ganon kabigat yung kanilang nararamdaman dahil napatawan nga ng kamatayan itong kanilang kapamilya. Okay, the mother was not allowed a last embrace by the guard, but her beloved son, in quiet grief, managed to press a kiss on her hand. Dominguez was said to have been moved with compassion at the sight of Rizal's kneeling before his mother and asking for forgiveness. Oh, nakakaiyak, ano class? As the dear visitors were leaving, Jose handed over to Trinidad an alcohol cooking stove, a gift from the Pardo de Taveras, whispering to her in a language which the guards could not comprehend, "There is something in it." That something was Rizal's elegy, now known as Mi Ultimo Adios. Yan yung kahuli-hulihang isinulat na Rizal. Okay, the Dean of the Manila Cathedral, Don Silvino Lopez Tuñon, went to see Rizal to exchange some views with him at about 5:30 p.m. Balaguer and March then left, leaving Villa Clara and Tuñon in Rizal's cell. As Rizal was leaving at about 6 p.m., Josephine Bracken arrived in Fort Santiago. Rizal called for her and they emotionally talked with each other. At 7 p.m., Faura returned and convinced Rizal to trust him and some other Ateneo professors. After some quiet moments, Rizal purportedly confessed to Faura. Rizal then took his last supper at about 8 p.m. and attended to his personal needs. He then told Dominguez that he had forgiven his enemies and the military judges who sentenced him to death. Okay, pinatawad niya pa, nagawa niya pang patawarin itong mga nagpataw sa kanya ng kamatayan. At about 9 or 9:30 p.m., Manila's Royal Audiencia Fiscal Don Gaspar Sestano arrived and had an amiable talk with Rizal. Historians Gregorio and Sonia Zaide alleged that at 10 p.m., Rizal and some Catholic priests worked on the hero's retraction. Kaya ito yung sinasabi nila na nag-retract siya para i-save daw yung kanyang buhay, pero ang pinaka-ebidensya na hindi siya nag-retract ay natuloy pa rin yung pagpataw sa kanya ng kamatayan, kasi kung totoong nag-retract siya, o di sana hindi natuloy yung kanyang kamatayan. Ito na. Supposedly, Balaguer brought to Rizal a retraction draft made by Archbishop Bernardino Nozalida, but Rizal did not like it for being long. A shorter retraction made by Jesuit Pio P was then offered to Rizal, which he allegedly liked. So it was said that he wrote his retraction renouncing Freemasonry and his anti-Catholic ideas. Zaide's book, nonetheless, admitted that the supposed retraction is now a very controversial document. Okay, for many reasons, Rizal assumed retraction and his supposed church marriage with Bracken have been considered highly dubious by many Rizal scholars. Kaduda-duda. Rizal then spent the night resting until the crack of dawn of December 30, perhaps praying and meditating once in a while. Okay, the early morning of December 30, the Zaidas alleged that at 3 a.m., Rizal heard Mass, confessed sins, and took communion. At about 4 a.m., Rizal picked up the book Imitation of Christ by Thomas Kempis, read and meditated. At 5 a.m., he washed up, attended to his personal needs, read the Bible, and contemplated. For breakfast, he was given 3 boiled eggs. Rizal's grandniece Asuncion Lopez Rizal Bantug mentioned 3 soft-boiled eggs and narrated that Rizal ate 2 of them. Historian Ambeth R. Ocampo, on the other hand, wrote 3 hard-boiled eggs and related that Rizal did not have any breakfast. O, sino kaya yung tama? Both historians nevertheless wrote that Rizal placed the boiled egg or eggs to a cell corner, saying in effect, "This is for the rats, let them celebrate likewise." Afterward, Rizal wrote letters, one addressed to his family and another to Pasiano. To his family, he partly wrote, "I ask you for forgiveness for the pain I caused you. I die resigned, hoping that with my death you will be left in peace." He also left this message to his sisters, "I enjoin you to forgive one another. Treat your old parents as you would like to be treated by your children later. Love them very much in my memory." To Pasiano, he partially wrote, "I am thinking now how hard you have worked to give me a career. I know that you have suffered much on my account and I am sorry." Grabe, class, yung last hour na niya bago siya patayin. Ayan na, nagsusulat na siya ng mga iiwan niya sa kanyang pamilya. Okay, though some accounts state that Bracken was forbidden from seeing Rizal on this fateful day, the Zaides wrote that at 5:30 a.m. she and Rizal's sister Josefa came. The couple was said to have embraced for the last time, and Rizal gave to Josephine the book Imitation of Christ, on which he wrote the dedication. "To my dear and unhappy wife, Josephine, December 30th, 1896, Jose Rizal." Before Rizal made his death march to Bagong Bayan, he managed to pen his last letters to his beloved parents. To Don Francisco he wrote, "Pardon me for the pain which I repay you. Goodbye, Father, goodbye." Perhaps told by the authorities that the march was about to begin, Rizal managed to write only the following to his mother, as cited in G. Zaide and S. Zaide in 1984. "To my very dear mothers, Senora or Doña Teodora Alonso, 6 o'clock in the morning, December 30, 1896, Jose Rizal." Ayan lang yung naisulat niya sa kanyang nanay kasi magsisimula na nga yung kanyang death march. Okay, slow walk to death. At 6:30 a.m., Rizal in black suit and black bowler hat, tied elbow to elbow. Ayan, syempre nakatali yung mga kamay niya sa likuran. Began his slow walk to Bagong Bayan. He walked along with his defense lawyer, Andrade, and 2 Jesuit priests, March and Villa Clara. In front of them were the advance guards of armed soldiers, and behind them was another group of military men. The sound of a trumpet signaled the start of the death march, and the muffled sound of drums served as the musical score of the walk. Early on that morning, many people had eagerly lined the streets. Some were sympathetic to him, others, especially the Spaniards, wanted nothing less than to see him die. So, itong mga Espanyol na ito, ang tayong gusto na makita si Dr. Jose Rizal mamatay kasi pinapaniwalaan nila na siya ang dahilan kung bakit nagkaroon ng revolusyon, kung bakit namatay ang mga civil guards, kung bakit napatay ng mga katipunero ang mga civil guards. Some observed that Rizal kept keenly looking around, and it was believed that his family or the Katipuneros would make a last-minute effort to spring him from the trap. Once in a while, Rizal conversed with the priests, commenting on things like his happy years at the Ateneo as they passed by Intramuros. Commenting on the clear morning, he was said to have uttered something like, "What a beautiful morning. On days like this, I used to take a walk here with my sweetheart." After some minutes, they arrived at the historic venue of execution. Filipino soldiers were deliberately chosen to compose the firing squad. Behind them stood their Spanish counterparts, ready to execute them also should they decline to do the job. There was just a glitch in the proceeding as Rizal refused to kneel and declined the traditional blindfold. Maintaining that he was not a traitor to his country and to Spain, he even requested to face the firing squad. Ito na yung shinare ko sa inyo dati na ang tradisyon ay babarilin siyang patalikod, simbolo ng kanyang pagkatraidor sa bayan. Pero dahil naniniwala siya at hindi naman talaga, hindi siya traidor sa bayan, gusto niya na harapin yung firing squad. Barilin siya ng paharap at hindi patalikod. Okay, after some sweet talk, Rizal finally agreed to turn his back to the firing squad on the condition that he would be shot not in the head but in the small of the back instead. When agreement had been reached, Rizal thankfully shook the hand of his defense lawyer. The military physician then asked permission to feel the pulse of the man who had only a few minutes to live. The curious doctor was startled to find Rizal's pulse normal. Siyempre, diba kapag ang isang tao mamatay na, babarilin na, grabe na yung kaba na nararamdaman niya o yung emosyon niya, halo-halo na. Pero itong physician, nung tinignan niya yung pulso ng ating national hero, normal lang. Ibig sabihin, napaghandaan na ni Rizal, tanggap na niya yung kanyang kamatayan. Before leaving Rizal in his appointed place, the priests offered him a crucifix to kiss, but he turned his head away and silently prepared for his death. When the command had been given, the executioner's long guns barked at once. Rizal yelled Christ's two last words, consummatum est. It is finished. As he simultaneously exerted a final effort to twist his bullet-pierced body halfway around. Yan, kasi sinubukan nga niyang harapin pa rin yung firing squad kasi nga ayaw niyang mabaril ng patalikod. Okay, facing the sky, Jose Rizal fell on the ground dead at exactly 7:03 on the morning of December 30, 1896. Okay, so very very sad story, module 5 of this course. Hope you learn a thing or two. That's the end of our discussion for module 5.